This episode of the Replay Sports Channel is brought to you by Royal Retros, your ultimate one-stop shop representing the teams of the past. Order your favorite team's replica gear today from Royal Retros and use the discount code REPLAY to get 10% off your purchase. The link is provided in the show's description. The following is a feature presentation of the Replay Sports Channel, the home for great games.
Welcome to Liberty Bowl. Tampa Bay versus Memphis. Here's the kick from Fairbairn. Tampa Bay breaks the huddle. Flacco gives to Dottle. Dottle on the carry, gain of 2, Dean on the stop. 2nd and 8 from the 27. Flacco hands to Dottle. Dottle on the carry, no gain, Sweat on the tackle. 3rd and 8. Flacco in the shotgun. Flacco sets up in the pocket. Flacco dumps it to Dottle. Flacco to Dottle, gain of 10, penalty on the play.
Offsides. Defense, number 93, 5-yard penalty.
First and 10. Flacco pitches left to Dottle. Dottle on the pitch, gain of 4, Rousseau on the tackle. 2nd and 6 from the 41. Flacco gives to Dottle. 8-yard gain by Dottle, Johnson on the stop, first down. Flacco gives to Dottle. Dottle on the carry, 3-yard gain, Clowney with the tackle. 2nd and 7 from the 48. Flacco calls out the signals. Flacco fades back to pass. Medium crossing pattern to Adams. Flacco throws incomplete to Adams, Jobe on the coverage. 3rd and 7 from the 48. The handoff to Henderson. Henderson with a gain of 5 on the play, LeVue on the stop. Stout deep in punt formation. Dyke waiting inside his own 10. A 40-yard punt by Stout, out of bounds. Jacobs with the handoff. Jacobs on the carry, gain of 5, White with the tackle. Jacobs on the draw. Eight-yard gain by Jacobs, spin it on the stop, first down. Shotgun. Jackson calls out the signals. Jacobs with the ball now. Jacobs the ball carrier, gain of 5, Burns on the stop. The hand off to Jacobs. Jacobs with a 3-yard run, White on the tackle. Timeout, Tampa Bay. Third and 2. Draw to Jacobs. 3-yard gain by Jacobs, Tranquil on the tackle, first down. First and 10 from the 27. Jackson gives to Jacobs. Jacobs with a 4-yard run, Boza on the tackle. Jackson fades back to pass. Medium out pass to Strange. Jackson with the pass to Strange, gain of 16, Molden on the tackle, first down. Jackson calls out the signals. Jackson on the run. Jackson on the sweep, gain of 4, Walker with the tackle. Jackson on the run. Jackson on the sweep, no gain, Rogers on the tackle. Third and 6 from the 49. Jackson at the line. Sets to throw. Short out pass to Downs. Jackson to Downs, gain of 10, flag on the play.
Tripping, defense. Number 44, 15-yard penalty. Automatic, first down.
Jackson fades back to pass. Long crossing pass. Jackson to McMillan, incomplete, Rogers on the coverage. Second and 10 from the 24. Current drive, 12 plays, 73 yards. 6:19 off the clock. Jackson with the give to Irving. Two-yard gain by Irving, Burns on the tackle. Third and 8 from the 22. Jackson calling signals. Fades back to pass. Medium out to McMillan. Jackson completes the pass to McMillan, touchdown Memphis. Fairbairn will try the point after. Fairbairn makes the extra point, Memphis 7, Tampa Bay 0. The kick from Fairbairn is down by more. First and 10 at the 25. Flacco is back to pass. He throws a high arcing pass. Flacco throws incomplete to Adams, Job on the coverage. Second and 10 from the 25. Shotgun. Flacco sets to throw. Screen to Henderson. Flacco to Henderson, gain of 11, penalty on the play. Second and 20 from the 15. Trips left. Flacco barks out the signals. Flacco fades back to pass. Medium button hook to Adams. Flacco passes to Adams, incomplete. 3rd and 20. Dottle split wide. Flacco fades back to pass. Medium into Kittle. Flacco completes the pass to Kittle, gain of 34, McKinney on the tackle, first down. 1st and 10. Flacco from the pistol. Flacco pitches right to Dottle. There he goes. Dottle on the pitch, gain of 21, Job on the tackle, first down. Draw to Dottle. Dottle with the carry, gain of 1, Clowney on the tackle. Flacco drops back to pass. Flacco passes to Dottle. Flacco to Dottle, gain of 8, LeVue on the tackle. 3rd and 1 from the 21. Ham split outside. Dottle with the handoff. Dottle the ball carrier, gain of 1, Bethune on the tackle, first down. Tampa Bay trailing by 7. Flacco in a pistol formation. He fades back to pass. Medium hitch to Cup. Flacco passes to Cup, gain of 10, White with the tackle, first down. End of the first quarter, Memphis 7, Tampa Bay 0. Flacco calls the signals. Hand off to Dottle. Dottle the ball carrier, loss of 1, Rousseau on the stop. 2nd and goal from the 11. Flacco gives to Dottle. 3-yard gain by Dottle, McKinney on the tackle. Third and goal from the 8. Dottle split outside. Flacco sets up in the pocket. Medium hitch to McLaurin. Flacco to McLaurin, touchdown Tampa Bay. McPherson will try the point after. The kick by McPherson is no good. Memphis 7, Tampa Bay 6. The kick from McPherson. First and 10 from the 25. Jacobs with the handoff. Fumble. Jacobs on the carry, no gain, fumble recovered by Allen, Memphis maintains possession. 2nd and 10. Jackson from the shotgun. Jackson calls out the signals. Jackson fades back to pass. Medium slant to Allen. Jackson throws incomplete to Allen, DeJean on the coverage. 3rd and 10 from the 25. Jackson sets up in the pocket. Medium cross to Strange. Jackson to Strange, incomplete. Wright will punt. A 55-yard punt by Wright, out of bounds. Flacco fades back to pass. Short hitch to Kittle. Flacco completes the pass to Kittle, gain of 31, McKinney on the tackle, first down. Dottle with the handoff. Dottle the ball carrier, gain of 1, Ogba on the tackle. From the shotgun. Flacco calls out the signals. Flacco sets to throw. Short hitch. Flacco throws incomplete to Adams, Job on the coverage. 3rd and 9 from the 48. Memphis showing blitz. Flacco is back to pass. Medium out. Flacco to Adams, 9-yard gain,
No
Job on the tackle.
timeout will be charged.
Flacco sets up in the pocket. He throws underneath to Adams. Flacco to Adams, incomplete, Job on the coverage. 2nd and 10. Flacco sets up in the pocket. Short hitch to Cup. Flacco to Cup, gain of 12, LeVue on the tackle, 1st down. Flacco fades back to pass. Short button hook to Adams. Flacco throws incomplete to Adams, Job on the coverage. 2nd and 10 from the 27. Flacco calls out the signals. Flacco to throw. Medium crossing pass to Cup. Flacco completes the pass to Cup, 26-yard gain, McKinney on the tackle, 1st down. Flacco calls the signals. Give to Henderson. Henderson on the carry, touchdown Tampa Bay. McPherson will try the point after. McPherson converts the extra point, Tampa Bay 13, Memphis 7. The kick from McPherson is downed by Dyke. Jackson barks out the signals. Jackson hands to Jacobs. Jacobs with a gain of 5 on the play, Burns on the tackle. Jackson in the shotgun. Jackson drops back to pass. He checks down to Strange. Jackson completes the pass to Strange, gain of 4, Molden on the tackle. Memphis breaks the huddle. 3rd and 1 at the 34. Jackson is back to pass. Screen. Jackson to Knox, incomplete, Pettis on the coverage. Right deep in punt formation. A 53-yard punt by Wright, return of 16 by Moore. First and 10. Shotgun formation. Flacco sets up in the pocket. Short slant to Cup. Flacco passes to Cup, 6-yard gain, White on the tackle. 2nd and 4 from the 35. Flacco fades back to pass. Short hitch. Flacco to Adams, gain of 9, Job on the tackle, 1st down. Flacco to throw. Medium out to Adams. Flacco throws incomplete to Adams, Job on the coverage. Flacco fades back to pass. Screen to Cup. Flacco to Cup, gain of 8, Bishop with the tackle. 3rd and 2 at the 48. Flacco to throw. Short in. Flacco to McLaurin, gain of 8, McKinney on the tackle, 1st down. Flacco fades back to pass. Medium slant to Barner. Flacco to Barner, incomplete, LeVue on the coverage. 2nd and 10. Flacco running. Flacco on the sweep, gain of 7, White on the tackle. 3rd and 3. Flacco calls the signals. Drops back to pass. Medium slant to Cup. Flacco with the pass to Cup, gain of 6, White on the tackle, 1st down. Slips it to Dottle. Lots of daylight. Dottle with a gain of 12 on the play, McKinney on the tackle, 1st down. Current drive, 9 plays, 56 yards. 4:28 off the clock. Flacco drops back to pass. Short hitch to Barner. Flacco completes the pass to Barner, gain of 11, White on the tackle, 1st down. Flacco calling signals. Dottle with the handoff. Dottle with the carry, touchdown Tampa Bay. McPherson will try the point after. The kick by McPherson is good, Tampa Bay 20, Memphis 7. Here's the kick from McPherson. The kick from McPherson is returned 23 yards by Dyke, Ham on the tackle. Hard count from Jackson. Shotgun. Jackson gives to Jacobs. Jacobs with a 5-yard run, White with the tackle. Second and 5 at the 32. Jackson with a hard count. Jackson fades back to pass. Short out. Jackson to Downs, 5-yard gain, Rodgers on the tackle, 1st down. Jackson with a hard count. They're looking for Jacobs. Jackson fades back to pass. Screen to Yushtik. Jackson to Yushtik, loss of 1, Sternad on the tackle. Jackson with a hard count. Fades back to pass. Medium out to Allen. Jackson completes the pass to Allen, gain of 8, DeJean on the tackle. Memphis breaks the huddle. 3rd and 3 from the 44. Jacobs with the handoff. Jacobs on the carry, no gain, Hill on the tackle. Right deep in punt formation. A 53-yard punt by Wright, 12-yard return by Moore. Tampa Bay breaks the huddle. 1st and 10 from the 3. Flacco hands to Dottle. Dottle with the carry, gain of 5, Bethune on the tackle. 2nd and 5 from the 8. Flacco barks out the signals. Flacco pitches left to Dottle. Dottle on the pitch, gain of 1, Bethune on the tackle. End of the first half, Tampa Bay 20, Memphis 7. Here's the kick from McPherson. The kick from McPherson is returned 33 yards by Dyke, Smith on the tackle. Jackson with 3-step drop. Short cross. Jackson to Strange, incomplete, Rodgers on the coverage. Shotgun. Jackson sets up in the pocket. Short cross. Jackson to Downs, incomplete, Rogers on the coverage. 3rd and 10 from the 20. Jackson fades back to pass. Screen to McMillan. Jackson to McMillan, incomplete, Terrell with the coverage. Right from punt formation. A 47-yard punt by Wright, 10-yard return by Moore. First and 10 from the 43. Flacco fades back to pass. Flacco throws to Barner. Flacco throws incomplete to Barner, Johnson on the coverage. 2nd and 10. Flacco hands to Dottle. Has daylight. 18-yard gain by Dottle, Dean on the tackle, first down. Dottle with the handoff. Dottle with a gain of 4 on the play, McKinney on the tackle. Dottle controlling the ball now. Dottle on the sweep, gain of 6, Johnson on the tackle, first down. The give to Dottle. 2-yard gain by Dottle, LeVue on the tackle. Flacco hands to Henderson. Henderson on the carry, gain of 8, Clowney on the tackle, first down. 1st and 10. Flacco gives to Dottle. Dottle with a gain of 2 on the play, Johnson on the tackle. Tampa Bay breaks the huddle. Hand off to Dottle. 4-yard run by Dottle, Tart on the stop. Third and 4 from the 13. Shotgun formation. Flacco is back to pass. Medium cross to McLaurin. Flacco throws incomplete to McLaurin, Bishop with the coverage. 31-yard try for McPherson. Stout to hold. Hossack with the snap. McPherson missed the 31-yard field goal. First and goal from the 8. Flacco at the line. Current drive, 10 plays, 49 yards. 4:43 off the clock. Fumbled snap. Fumble. Flacco lost 4 on the play, fumble recovered by Flacco, Tampa Bay maintains possession. 11 play 45-yard drive. 5:22 off the clock. Flacco sets up in the pocket. Flacco throws to Ham. Flacco throws incomplete to Ham, Bethune on the coverage. 3rd and goal from the 12. Flacco fades back to pass. Medium into Adams. Flacco completes the pass to Adams, touchdown Tampa Bay. McPherson will try the point after. The kick by McPherson is good, Tampa Bay 27, Memphis 7. McPherson with the kick. The kick from McPherson is returned 34 yards by Dyke, Butler on the tackle. Jackson from the shotgun. Jackson sets up in the pocket. Long slant to McMillan. Fumble. Jackson to McMillan, gain of 40, fumble recovered by McMillan, Memphis maintains possession. Jackson sets up in the pocket. Medium cross. Jackson with the pass to McMillan, 22-yard gain, Terrell on the tackle, first down. First and goal from the 3. Jackson gives to Jacobs. Jacobs the ball carrier, loss of 1, White on the tackle. Memphis trailing by 20. Jackson gives to Jacobs. Jacobs the ball carrier, touchdown Memphis. Fairbairn will try the point after. Fairbairn missed the extra point, Tampa Bay 27, Memphis 13. The kick from Fairbairn. And around to Barner. Barner on the reverse, no gain, Dean with the tackle. Second and 10 at the 25. From the shotgun. Flacco fades back to pass. Flacco tucks it under. Fumble. Flacco with the carry, gain of 7, fumble recovered by Kittle, Tampa Bay maintains possession. Third and 3 at the 32. Flacco drops back to pass. Short hitch. Flacco to McLaurin, gain of 9, Bishop on the tackle, first down. Tampa Bay leads by 14. Flacco sets up in the pocket. Medium slant to Cup. Flacco throws incomplete to Cup, White on the coverage. Second and 10. Flacco fades back to pass. Screen to Harris. Flacco to Harris, loss of 1, White on the tackle. Tampa Bay up 14. Third and 11 from the 40. Flacco drops back to pass. Medium hitch to McLaurin. Flacco completes the pass to McLaurin, gain of 11, Bishop on the tackle. First and 10. 2:27 in the third. Flacco sets up in the pocket. Medium fly to Barner. Flacco to Barner, gain of 14, Williams on the tackle, first down. First and 10 from the 35. Flacco at the line. Flacco tucks it under. Flacco lost 2 on the play, Dean on the tackle. Second and 12. Flacco back to pass. Short into Kittle. Flacco to Kittle, gain of 6, Johnson on the tackle. Third and 6. Flacco fades back to pass. Short hitch to Kittle. Flacco to Kittle, incomplete, Williams on the coverage. 49-yard attempt for McPherson. Good snap from center. The snap from Posick. McPherson made the 49-yard field goal, Tampa Bay 30, Memphis 13. Here's the kick from McPherson. The kick from McPherson is returned 27 yards by Dyke, Ham on the tackle. Shotgun. Jackson at the line. Drops back to pass. Medium slant. Jackson throws incomplete to Thomas, Rogers on the coverage. Express down by 17. Jackson fades back to pass. Screen to Jacobs. Jackson passes to Jacobs, 12-yard gain, DeJean on the tackle, first down. Jacobs with the transfer. Jacobs on the carry, gain of 2, Pettis on the tackle. 2nd and 8 from the 42. Jackson at the line. Jackson fades back to pass. Medium hitch to Jacobs. Jackson to Jacobs, gain of 11, Sternett on the tackle, first down. Jackson calling signals. He fades back to pass. Jackson throws underneath to Jacobs. Jackson to Jacobs, gain of 5, Sternett on the tackle. Bootleg. Jackson with the lane. Ten-yard gain by Jackson, Burns with the tackle, first down. Penalty on the play. First and 15 from the 37. Jackson calls the signals. Sets to throw. Medium crossing pattern. Jackson to downs, incomplete. First and 10 from the 24. Current drive, 7 plays, 48 yards. 3:27 off the clock. Jackson sets up in the pocket. Throws to McMillan's back shoulder. Jackson completes the pass to McMillan, gain of 7, Terrell on the tackle. Jackson sets up in the pocket. Medium cross to downs. Jackson to downs, incomplete, Wiggins on the coverage. 3rd and 3 from the 17. Jackson tucks it under. Jackson with a gain of 8 on the play, Burns on the stop, first down. First and goal. Jackson with a quick drop. He throws downfield. Jackson throws incomplete to Thomas, Rogers on the coverage. Jackson at the line. Current drive, 11 plays, 63 yards. 5:13 off the clock. Jackson drops back to pass. Medium into Allen. Jackson completes the pass to Allen, touchdown Memphis. The conversion failed, Tampa Bay 30, Memphis 19. Fairbairn with the kick. The kick from Fairbairn is returned 28 yards by Moore, Williams on the tackle. Transfers control to Dottle. Dottle on the carry, gain of 11, Dean with the tackle, first down. Tampa Bay taking their time. The handoff to Dottle. Dottle with the lane. Fumble. Dottle on the carry, gain of 13, fumble recovered by Dottle, Tampa Bay maintains possession. First and 10. Slow down. The give to Dottle. Has room to run. Dottle on the carry, gain of 13, Ellis on the tackle, first down. Tampa Bay up 11. Slow down offense. Quick pitch to Henderson. Henderson lost 4 on the play, LeVue on the tackle. Second and 14 at the 40. Slow down offense. Flacco fades back to pass. Medium cross to Kittle. Flacco completes the pass to Kittle, gain of 8, Johnson on the tackle. Tampa Bay ahead by 11. 3rd and 6. Flacco taking his time. Back to pass. Medium slant to McLaurin. Flacco throws incomplete to McLaurin. "50-yard attempt for McPherson. The snap from Posick. McPherson missed from 50. Shotgun. Allen is doubled at the line. Jackson at the line. Jackson gives to Jacobs. Jacobs on the carry, gain of 3, Pettis with the tackle. 2nd and 7 from the 43. Hurry up offense. Jackson fades back to pass. Short hitch. Jackson with the pass to Jacobs, incomplete, Strnad with the coverage. Express trailing by 11. 3rd and 7. 4:43 in the 4th. Jackson fades back to pass. Screen to Jacobs. Jackson completes the pass to Jacobs, 2-yard gain, Burns on the tackle. Right back in punt formation. Moore waiting inside his own 10. A 55-yard punt by Wright, touchback. Tampa Bay by 11. Hand off to Dowdle. Dowdle with the carry, no gain, Rousseau with the tackle. Tampa Bay in no hurry. The hand off to Dowdle. Dowdle on the carry, gain of 7, Clowney on the tackle. 3rd and 3. Slow down. Flacco with the give to Dowdle. Dowdle the ball carrier, no gain, Ellis on the tackle. 2-minute warning. A 51-yard punt by Stout, return of 10 by Dyke, 2-minute warning. First and 10. Shotgun formation. Jackson drops back to pass. Throws to Thomas Jr.'s back shoulder. Jackson completes the pass to Thomas, penalty on the play. Memphis trailing by 11. Jackson sets up in the pocket. Screen to Jacobs. Jackson to Jacobs, 1-yard gain, Strnad on the tackle. Tampa Bay faking blitz. Jackson at the line. Drops back to pass. Jackson throws underneath to Jacobs. Jackson completes the pass to Jacobs, no gain, Strnad on the tackle. Express down by 11. 3rd and 9. 1:37 left in the game. Jackson sets up in the pocket. Screen to Thomas. Jackson completes the pass to Thomas, 10-yard gain, Terrell on the tackle, First down. 1st and 10 from the 43. Jackson fades back to pass. Screen to Jacobs. Jackson to Jacobs, gain of 9, Molden on the tackle. Express down by 11. 2nd and 1 from the 48. 1:16 to go in the 4th. Jackson sets to throw. Long out pass. Jackson to Thomas, incomplete, Rogers on the coverage. 3rd and 1 at the 48. Pettis up in the box. Jackson back to pass. Screen. Jackson passes to Jacobs, loss of 3, Strnad on the tackle. 4th and 4 at the 49. Jackson back to pass. He dumps it to Allen. Jackson to Allen, gain of 2, DeJean with the tackle. Flacco will go to a knee. Flacco will take a knee. Flacco takes a knee. Flacco takes a knee. Tampa Bay 30, Memphis 19.
Thank you for watching this presentation of the Replay Sports Channel.